Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you're watching this video. It's me again, and welcome back to school. Well, technically, we might see each other again face to face on November 14, but I might be wrong, and that might not happen. But anyway, what is clear is that we are starting our second semester in school. And because we are starting our second semester in school, we will have classes, face-to-face or online classes. Now, because we're in the second semester, it means that we're learning something new today. In fact, we're learning about natural disasters. Okay, we are going to learn about natural disasters. So I have prepared this PowerPoint presentation about natural disasters. Don't worry if you have trouble catching up because I will have this same PowerPoint on our class in Friday. I am not sure with you, but for me, I am excited to see all of you again because we have like 3 weeks of no classes, right? A lot of you did not get to see me, and I didn't get to see all of you. So I'm so excited to see you guys again on Friday. Anyway, let's start. Natural disasters. And yes, those are, I like to make funny PowerPoint presentations. So those are the bananas. Banana. I guess you guys know about those. Anyway, so there are 4 parts of our study involving natural disasters. The first is flood. We're going to talk about the natural disaster that is the flood. Next is erosion. We are going to talk about the second natural disaster, and that is erosion. Third, we are going to talk about landslide. That is the third natural disaster. Fourth, we're going to talk about earthquakes. 5, we're going to talk about tsunamis. And finally, 6, we're going to talk about the greenhouse effect. Flood, part 1, flood. But before we start with the flood, let's talk about the word natural disaster, okay? What does natural disaster actually mean? Well, it comes from the word natural or from nature, okay? It comes from the word natural or it comes from nature. That's right. So, natural disasters. Its second word is disaster. Disaster is something that is not good, that happened to a lot of people or a big part of an area. So if we combine the words natural and disaster, it basically means that it's the bad things that happen to a place or to people that is made by nature. That is not man-made. There are disasters that are made by us, made by man. But these ones, no, they're not. They're not made by man. They are made by nature. That is what natural disasters means. Bad things that is made by nature. Okay, so now that we know what natural disaster means, let's go to the very first natural disaster, and it is called flood. Okay, it is not called flood. Okay, even if it has two O's, it's called flood, not flood, flood. So what is a flood? A flood is an event when a place is submerged or covered in water. Submerged means it is drowned or something is under a lot of water, or if something is covered in water. Take, for example, this picture. Now, it may look like the kids are just playing in the river, but look closely, class. What do you see in the picture? You see a lot of homes near the river. People back then, they like to make houses near rivers because, there's a lot of fish in the river. And if you make a house near a river, you can have fish for food and you can have clean water to drink. And you can also use the clean water for you to plant trees or plants, and then you can grow them and you can have other sources of food. However, this isn't a river because the houses are too close to the river. The houses do not need to be that close to a river. And not only that, if you look at the water, class, it's not clean. It's color brown. It's very dirty. So it's not a river. It's called a flood. A flood is something that happens when your house or the place where you live in has a lot of water, so much that when you step on the land, you step inside water. Now, back then on October, the 2nd or the 3rd week of October, class, we still the teachers of Supalak School still have special classes with other students. I had 2 classes and I could not record or have online class at home because of no internet. So I need to go to school. And there was a very strong flood in school, class. The flood was so strong that Supalak School had to put a lot of sand or gravel outside the gates so that the water does not go inside the school. I experienced flood here in Suphanburi. I even asked before, some of you I asked, is there flooding in Suphanburi? And most of you said no. And some said yes, there was a time that there was a flood in Suphanburi. And now I can say I experienced it. I needed to ride my motorcycle in flood, class. My motorcycle became a boat because I had to go to the front of the school to put my motorcycle, then go inside the school because I had to have classes with my students. Now, what causes flood? What do you think causes flood? Well, the thing that causes a lot of flood is, number 1, rain. Too much rain. During that time when there was a flood, there was a lot of rain around Suphanburi, all over the province of Suphan. I'm sure you remember it. There's a lot of rain outside. So what happens? A lot of water from rain causes a flood. Not only that, you see, because Suphanburi is not used to a lot of rain. If it rains in Suphanburi, it's usually about 5 minutes to 10 minutes and the rain will stop. That is how the rain happens in Suphanburi. But because there was a storm, the rain did not stop. It continued for many hours. And what happened? The drainage system was not able to get the water. So what happened? Many houses near the rivers, class, they were full of water. The water even got inside their houses. And that is very scary because you have a lot of appliances like TVs, laptops, computers, and if they are submerged or wet or covered in water, they will be broken. So flood is actually very scary. Now, what are the effects of a flood? First, floods can cause traffic. Okay, traffic, you know what is traffic? Floods can cause traffic. Some cars, class, they are so advanced today that some cars have a little like a mini computer inside their car, inside their like engine. And when that mini computer gets hit by a lot of water from flood, it might cause your house, your car to be broken down. And if your car is broken in the middle of a road, it will always cause traffic. Not only that, the cars, they are very slippery. When the road they are traveling in is covered in water, so the drivers, they will not ride very fast. In fact, they will ride very, very slow to make sure that floods cannot break or there will be no accidents. Number two, animals might die. You see, class, remember there are a lot of dogs in the temple near Supalak School. And the temple was also flooded. Thankfully, the temple is very tall. It has many stairs. But if you remember, there are a lot of dogs near the temple. If the temple was not there and there were a lot of dogs there, the dogs could not swim a lot. Okay, some animals, they don't know how to swim. Dogs, they know how to swim, but they need to find a place to stand up because it's very tiring to actually swim. Even us humans, we can't swim for very long. We get tired. So animals, they might die. Number three, farms and houses will be destroyed. If the water goes inside your house, it will also bring mud or land. And when the water is gone, the land will stay inside your house and your house will be dirty. And that's okay. If it's dirty, you can clean it. But some houses, they are carried away by very strong floods. And number four, one of the most scary effects of flood is that people might drown. People might drown, class, because of flooding. Next, what should we do? Number one, prepare a survival kit. Okay, you should always be ready in case there's a flood. What is a survival kit? You should have radio, a cell phone that has some load, some food, and some water so that you can call your government for help if there is a flood. Number two, stay calm and do not panic. This is the most important. If you do not stay calm in an emergency, you might make wrong decisions and it might cost you your life or something worse. Number three, do not play in flood water. If your house is covered in flood, do not swim in the flood. The flood has a lot of germs or bacteria. It will help. It's very dirty. Number four, get to higher ground if necessary. You can go to a higher place if you want. Because there's a lot of water, you don't feel safe, let's go to a higher place. Next, after the flood, check if there is electricity because sometimes electricity is runs rampant if there is water. The electric The electricity will run around in water. So you have to check if there's some things in your house that is possible to be broken by a flood and might cause electricity. So that's it. We first talked about the flood. We'll talk about the other like mm, natural disasters next time or when we have class on Friday. So I will see you then. Goodbye.